Nobody expected the man who rode a bicycle to work was actually their new CEO. In a city where suits and status symbols ruled the streets, one man pedaled through the morning chaos with nothing but a second-hand mountain bike and a calm smile. No flashy car, no pressed three-piece suit, not even a Bluetooth earpiece to shout into. Just an old helmet, a coffee-stained backpack, and a rhythm to his ride that spoke of a man content with the simple things. At Carter Tech, a rising star in the world of tech startups, the employees buzzed every morning like bees in a hive. Glass walls, espresso machines that could practically speak Italian, and hallway conversations filled with terms like scaling up, user experience, and market disruption. They were proud of their innovation, proud of their founder, who recently stepped down to bring in a new CEO. Their savior, supposedly, someone with a legacy in the industry, a business prodigy. But on the Monday he was supposed to arrive, there was no sleek black SUV outside. No entourage, just that guy again. The one who locked up his bicycle near the service entrance and waved at the janitor like they were old friends. Most of the staff didn't give him a second glance. Some assumed he was in maintenance. A few whispered he might be from one of the partner companies renting office space. And the interns, well, they didn't care. They were too busy trying to decode Slack messages like hieroglyphics. Then came the staff meeting. Everyone gathered in the glass-walled conference room, eyes flicking between their screens and the door. Rumors had already flown around about the new CEO. Some said he was ex-military. Others swore he once ran a billion-dollar company before vanishing into the mountains. And then, the door creaked open. Bicycle Man walked in, still slightly out of breath from the ride. A few chuckles rippled through the room. He looked around, took off his helmet, and with a surprisingly calm and confident voice, said, "Good morning. I'm Elliot Park, your new CEO." Silence. You could hear the tap-tap of someone trying to backspace a Slack message that read, "OMG, this guy is lost LOL." He smiled again. "Let me guess, you expected someone in a suit, with a PowerPoint and a list of buzzwords to fire off in the first 5 minutes?" A few heads nodded. "Well," he continued, "you'll find I'm a bit unorthodox." People were confused, some intrigued, others offended, but no one could look away. That day, Elliot didn't deliver a business strategy. He told them a story. Years ago, he was the co-founder of a startup that got acquired for millions. Everyone thought he'd stay in the game, but Elliot saw something missing: human connection, real purpose. He spent years traveling, working in community programs, teaching in underfunded schools, even mopping floors at a youth center because they couldn't afford a janitor. Leadership, he said, starts on the ground floor, sometimes literally. Still, the employees weren't sure how to take him. They expected spreadsheets, not stories. But something about him, the calm, the confidence, the clarity, kept them listening. Over the next weeks, Elliot didn't change everything at once. He listened, walked around the office, ate lunch in the cafeteria, rode his bike through the city not because he had to, but because he liked being close to the world. And slowly, the company started to shift. He called it bottom-up leadership. His belief? If the people at the bottom were thriving, if the interns felt heard, if the janitors were respected, if the coffee guy felt appreciated, then the whole company would be healthier. One day, an email came in from a potential investor. Big money. The kind of deal that could double their market share. But the contract was dirty. It included outsourcing that would lay off half their customer service team and relocate operations to a cheaper, unregulated market. The executive board pushed hard for it. But Elliot said no. "I'd rather grow slow and right than fast and wrong." They argued. They threatened to go to the media, to the board of directors. Elliot shrugged. "Go ahead. But remember, I'm the guy who biked here in the rain. I'm not scared of a little storm." Weeks later, something remarkable happened. A viral tweet. "My brother works at Carter Tech, says their CEO rode a bike to work and turned down a $30 million deal to save his team's jobs. Who is this guy?" The tweet exploded. Articles followed. People admired the story, not because it was flashy, but because it felt real, authentic, human. Job applications tripled. Product reviews surged with praise not just for the tech, but for the company culture. Customers started choosing Carter Tech not just for what they sold, but for what they stood for. And that's when people started asking, where did this Elliot Park guy come from? Well, let's rewind a little more. Elliot had always been brilliant. Graduated high school at 15. IQ measured at 160. But he hated being defined by numbers. He dropped out of a top university to take care of his sick mother, took odd jobs, fixed bikes, washed windows, spent years blending in. He once told a young programmer at Carter Tech, "People think intelligence is about having all the answers. It's not. It's about asking the right questions and knowing when to stay quiet and listen." The programmer nodded slowly, as if hearing wisdom from a monk instead of a guy who smelled faintly of chain grease and coffee. Months into his leadership, something happened that no one expected. One of their app features, meant to streamline customer feedback, malfunctioned. Bad. User data was at risk. It was Saturday night. No execs answered their phones. Elliot was the only one who showed up to the office. He called in the junior dev team, not to reprimand them, but to solve the issue with them. He ordered pizza, sat beside them, rolled up his sleeves, literally, and started typing. Turns out, he hadn't just managed coders in a past life. He was one. By 2 a.m., the problem was fixed. Data secured. Crisis averted. As they walked out, one of the interns whispered, "He really is a wizard, huh?" "No," another replied. "He's just real." And that was Elliot Park's magic. He didn't need to prove he was the CEO. He didn't need a tailored suit or a six-figure car. He had a brain that could run circles around Wall Street and a heart that rode a bike to remind himself what mattered. So next time you see someone locking up their bicycle outside a fancy office building, don't assume. You might just be looking at someone who's quietly running the place. And if you're lucky enough, maybe you'll work for someone like Elliot. Someone who reminds us that leadership isn't about being above others, it's about lifting them up, even if it means riding uphill.